This is Warm and Cool Colored Pencil Spheres. So we are going to work on our cool sphere. So remember to make a value scale first so you can figure out what colors you're going to use to create the shadows and the highlights in your sphere. Make sure you're paying attention to where your light source is coming from. And then remember, we're going to start with dark cools underneath to create the shadow portion of our sphere. And then you're going to use light layers of pencil. You're going to build up the layers. Don't use too much pressure too quickly or the paper will fill with pencil and you won't be able to alter it anymore. And then I like to shade in little small circles over and over and over again. And I want you just to pay attention to how many different colors I'm using in those shadows and then how many colors I use in the mid-tone versus the highlight. So I'm really building up those colors. And if you look really close, you'll be able to see little flecks of all those colors that I've used. So it'll create a more dimensional, more richer looking sphere than if you just did black and purple and white. So I'm using a violet, and you can see in the shadow I used a dark green with the indigo. I really love how that green looks with the violet on top. So it really makes it look a lot richer, and it almost turns to black on its own. So I'm getting near the end. So I'm like refining my transitions and making sure they're smooth. I don't have any harsh edges that I don't want, and I have harsh edges where I do want them. Then my last step is to add the white. So it's kind of used as a blender, smoothing some of those pencil strokes that I made, creating that nice highlight, adding the reflection. And then once I kind of finesse it the way I want, I will add the shadow underneath using those cool dark colors. So indigo blue, violet, blue violet. Oops, and I broke my pencil. So I'm going to skip indigo. But blue violet, violet, dark green, a little bit of Tuscan red sometimes. But mixing all those colors together will create a nice chromatic black shadow. And then last, just pick a contrasting color for the background. So since this is my cool sphere, I'm doing a warm background. Or you could also pick a complementary color. So if I was going to do a complementary color, I would have chosen yellow. And then do the same technique with your background. Make sure you're creating layers of color. So don't do such a nice job on your sphere and then kind of phone it in for the background. So make sure you're layering your colors. And add highlights or white in there as needed to blend. All right, so I'm about finished. So make sure everything looks solid and even. And nice work. Good job.